Good morning, everyone. It's 9:30. We'll call the October 11th meeting of the Mill Creek Board of Supervisors to order. Would you please rise for the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have an agenda amendment to take care of. Attorney Shaw?
Yes, before we get started with the balance of the agenda, there is one item to be added in accordance with Section 712E of the Right to Know law. Under that section, upon a majority vote of the individuals present and voting during the conduct of a meeting, an agency may add a matter of agency business to the agenda. The reasons for the changes to the agenda shall be announced at the meeting before any vote is conducted to make those changes to the agenda. The agency may subsequently take official action on the matter that is added to the agenda. The agency shall post the amended agenda on the agency's publicly accessible internet website and at the agency's principal office location no later than the first business day following the meeting at which the agenda was changed. The added agenda item consists of a contract with BIU regarding code enforcement inspections that BIU conducts on behalf of the township, as well as to modify that existing arrangement with BIU to include inspections under the new limited lodging ordinance. BIU responded only yesterday to our revisions, accepting our changes, and as a result, we were unable to get it on the agenda ahead of time. This needs to be approved to enable the Planning and Development Department to determine the proper fees under the limited lodging ordinance. So I would recommend that this item be added to the agenda after item number 16, so that this would be agenda item number 17. I would need a motion and a vote.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve the addition to the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, is there any public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications? For the comprehensive plan? Yeah, we will have a public comment portion for that. Yes, sir. Okay, moving on to approval of the minutes. On September 26th, there was a joint meeting with the Fire and EMS Commission and the supervisors, and the regular meeting on September 27th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from those two meetings?
Motion to approve the minutes from those two meetings.
Second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is approval of the bills. Is there a motion to approve the bills?
Motion to approve the bills.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is bids and quotations. The first item would be the Wolf Road Force Main Replacement Project bid results. Mr. Donikowski.
Thank you. Good morning. On October 6th, a public bid opening was held for the Wolf Road Sanitary Force Main Replacement Project. Bids were received as follows. Shivers Construction, $1,597,999. Pollard Land Services for $2,094,490. And Consul Construction with a bid of $2,440,000. This was a sanitary sewer capital line item. And it is my recommendation to award this contract to Shivers Construction for the price of $1,597,999.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the bid results of the Wolf Road Force Main project.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item would be the Glenwood Pump Station Engineering and Hardware Upgrade. Mr. Donikowski.
The Sewer Department is seeking approval to hire process and data automation to do the engineering and hardware upgrades for the Glenwood Pump Station Upgrade Project. The quote provided is for a price of $27,480. This upgrade will include engineering for the 3-pump computer system and the hardware to be installed in the existing control cabinet. This new program will also be the template for the other 3-pump lift stations in the township for future projects. These funds will be taken from the Glenwood Pump Station upgrade line of the sanitary sewer capital budget, leaving a balance of $96,061, and it is my recommendation to hire process and data automation per the attached quote.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the board?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the Glenwood Pump Station upgrade.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item would be storage shelving for the traffic department. Mr. Donikowski.
The traffic department is seeking approval to purchase Ridge-Rack shelving for the storage building per the attached quote. One quote was received from Gene Davis Sales for the price of $10,623. These funds will be taken from the shelving line of the traffic department capital budget, leaving a balance of $9,377. It is my recommendation to purchase this shelving from Gene Davis Sales for the price of $10,620.
Any comments from the board?
Make a motion to approve the storage shelving.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item would be a vertical bandsaw for the streets department.
The Streets Department is seeking approval to purchase a Jet 36-inch vertical bandsaw. Quotes were received as follows. Superior Auto Supply for $16,255.49. Global Industrial with a price of $16,798. And Amazon for the price of $17,888.64. $15,000 of this purchase will be taken from the bandsaw line of the Streets Department capital budget, and the remaining $1,255.49 will be taken from the Streets Department contingency line, leaving a balance of $18,744.51. It is my recommendation to purchase this saw from Superior Auto Supply for the price of $16,255.49.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
No, I'll make a motion to purchase the vertical band saw.
I'll second that.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a public hearing on an amendment to the Mill Creek Township Comprehensive Plan, Embrace Mill Creek. Mr. Waldinger.
Thank you. Good morning. Before the Board of Supervisors today is a proposed amendment to the Township's 2018 Comprehensive Plan, which is entitled Embrace Mill Creek. The proposed amendment consists of two parts: the inclusion of the newly developed Presque Isle Gateway District Plan and an update of the future land use map, which was in the appendix section of the Comprehensive Plan on page 77. I will give some further information as to what both parts entail prior to delivering my recommendation. The first part of the amendment is the Presque Isle Gateway District Plan, which was created as recommended by the Comprehensive Plan. The first of 5 focus areas in Embrace Mill Creek was titled, Create a Distinctive and High-Quality Gateway District to Presque Isle. And one of the action steps was to develop a detailed sub-area plan for the Presque Isle Gateway. The plan before you is a realization of that action step. Mill Creek Township engaged Ingalls Planning and Design to develop the Presque Isle Gateway District Plan. Matt Ingalls was part of the team that worked on Embrace Mill Creek, and much of the design concepts for the district that exist in the comprehensive plan came from Matt. His firm had many local contacts, had extensive knowledge of the area, and was a natural fit to further the gateway concept. Ingalls Planning began work in February of 2021 by creating an inventory and analysis of existing conditions, municipal policies, regulations, historical records, and other materials relevant to the study area. The firm also began to have meetings with stakeholders, a technical advisory committee made up of various regional government and civic leaders, and with a project team here at the township, which included the Board of Supervisors. In June of 2021, a website for the Gateway Plan was created and publicized through many media channels. The site allowed users to place a pin on a map of the district and add comments to that specific location. They could identify the area as a community asset, share an idea for that spot, report an issue they experienced in a specific location, or offer up suggestions on appropriate themes to incorporate within the district. Through early summer, over 270 comments were received and later analyzed. The information gathered from the site and previous meetings was used by the Ingalls team to develop concepts for features in the district. Throughout the fall of 2021, meetings were again held with stakeholders and the Technical Advisory Committee to further refine these concepts. Late in 2021 into early 2022, a series of meetings was held with the Township Project team to further narrow down a selection of concepts for public review. In February of 2022, the Gateway website was updated with the new concepts and the site was again publicized so that Mill Creek could gather input on what was being proposed. Over 325 responses were gathered and were used to inform drafts of the plan as they were reviewed internally and revised from February through early May. In May of 2022, Ingalls Planning and Design delivered the final version of the plan to the township. This plan gives a general overview of the district, recommends a future development strategy for each of its main corridors, and provides plans for new streetscapes that include pedestrian amenities along several corridors. These amenities will bring safety and walkability to residential neighborhoods in the district, linking them to area schools, township parks, and Presque Isle State Park through the construction of sidewalks, bike paths, and multi-use trails. A streetscape plan will also improve the West 8th Street Business District, transforming a current auto-focused corridor into one that is safe and welcoming for pedestrians, encouraging regional residents and visitors to stop and spend time dining, shopping, and recreating. Increased pedestrian activity will enhance current businesses that call the area home, as well as provide the opportunity to redevelop underutilized spaces into vibrant mixed-use areas. The second part of today's amendment is an update to the township's current future land use plan, which was adopted with the comprehensive plan in 2018. A future land use plan is used as a planning tool to denote the community's plans for future development as expressed through the comprehensive planning process. It does not carry any regulatory weight, but is intended to be a guidance document for future land use decisions. The adopted future land use plan was used as the blueprint for the initial drafts of the new zoning code. As you are aware, during the adoption process for the zoning code, several changes were proposed by the community that were eventually included in the ordinance that was passed by the board in April of this year. The proposed changes to the future land use map update recommended general uses for areas that match what was adopted with the zoning code. It also modifies the descriptions of multifamily areas as either low or moderate density to correctly relate the descriptions to adopted policy. These changes ensure that the future land use map aligns with the information gathered during Embrace Mill Creek, as well as the more recent public process to adopt the township's current zoning map. In closing, the proposed changes to the future land use map revises one of the township's core planning documents in response to the receipt of relevant input. The addition of the Presque Isle Gateway District Plan to the comprehensive plan proves Mill Creek's commitment to bring the Gateway to fruition as actively as we have been pursuing the comprehensive plan. This commitment by the board is a crucial component that the Commonwealth and other funding agencies look for when we seek funding for projects. Pursuant to regulations in the municipality's planning code, the proposed amendment was delivered to the Mill Creek Township Planning Commission, the Erie County Department of Planning and Community Development, all adjoining municipalities, and the Mill Creek Township School District. As required, these entities were given 45 days to submit comments on the amendment. We received no comments from any adjoining municipalities or the school district. The Erie County Department of Planning did send a letter stating that the amendment is consistent with the Erie County Comprehensive Plan. The Mill Creek Township Planning Commission held a hearing at their regular meeting of Tuesday, October 4th, 2022, and recommended approval of the amendment. I concur with both, and as Director of Planning and Development, recommend that the board adopt the amendment to embrace Mill Creek through the passage of Resolution 2022 R44. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to comment? So would you state your name and address for the record also, please?
My name is Carl Ebert. My address is 10784 Mohawk Road, Cranesville, Pennsylvania. My wife and I, along with 2 other families, are owners of land in Mill Creek Township, a large parcel of land that is adjacent to Headwaters Park. This land has been in my wife's family for about 100 years. Our children are the 4th generation. My wife and I were born and raised in Bell Valley. We went to the 6th classroom grade school at the corner of Norcross and Shrimper Road. So did 7 or 8 of my cousins, and I think 4 of the wife's cousins. We grew up there when Bell Valley was still rural. Our land is in the Clean and Green program with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It is registered as timberland. And this land has been logged for as far back as the 1950s. My father-in-law cut pulpwood on it for hammer mill. Your current land use shows this property as conservation property. Timber and forestry is a form of agriculture. It's just that our crop takes 15 or 20 years to mature. It's not like corn or beans, okay? Agriculture is an approved use for conservation land under your future use map. I don't see agriculture listed as a use for preservation land under the future use regulations. And you have now designated on your future use map, you have designated our property as preservation property. And I know that our property hasn't changed. It's the same as it's always been, going back way, long, long time. Now, state law supersedes local law. Commonwealth Code overrides local ordinances. Our property is governed by the Clean and Green program. Under this program, if we wanted to build a house on our property, we could. We also have the right to separate a lot of 2 acres or less for another home. Now, I assure you, no one in my family is about to do that. We have kept this property as a sustainable forest land, very closely regulated in terms of forest, of what trees are cut and the land use in that. And our property is going to remain in the Clean and Green program, and it's going to be passed down to future generations in trust. We in Bell Valley led the conservation and the green spirit of keeping land rural. This land will continue to provide income to our children as sustainable timberland. It will continue to remain a haven for wild animals and plants. Under Clean and Green, timberland owners have no obligation to allow the public on their land. And given the decline in wild places, wildlife, and wild plants, and our dedication to the environment, that's not going to change. Wild animals, wild plants, amphibians, birds. They need a place where mankind does not go. And we have tried to keep our property that way. And the timbering has been matched with our environmental concerns. I'm quite familiar with the land around us. Got some relatives there, I know them. And some of these properties, according to your future use map, will remain conservation. Others are going to be preservation. But my question to you is this: who and how was it decided that one property would remain conservation and another property become preservation? Was an environmental study done on these properties to show the differences? I know that our property hasn't changed. It's the same as it's always been. So where do I find the criteria in your documentation to show how you determine the future use of properties? And where's the list of changes in the characteristics of these properties being categorized as preservation? Now, I asked for these documents at the planning meeting last Tuesday, and I was told that there were none. I asked for a copy of the environmental study and was told that one was not done. And I'm trying to find out what the basis is for why you want to change our property. We've kept our property unchanged over the decades. When Bell Valley went from a rural area to a suburban area, we did that with no help from Mill Creek Township. The township has approved development, not just you, but all the preceding boards, and this is a common action by boards of supervisors and municipalities. And it seems like you're attacking our private land and trying to make regulations and zoning changes in the future to properties where the owners have had the foresight and the dedication to keep their property clean, green, and natural. Some members of some committees told me, we're not concerned about you. We know you're an environmentalist, but we're concerned about your children. Boy, do I resent that. Don't say anything about my kids. Those are fighting words. And they ought to be for you as well. I really kind of resent the township saying that they know our land better than we do and how to manage it better than we do. Family members of my generation, and our children are educated, conservationists, environmentalists, and better husbands of nature than your bureaucracy will ever be. I ask you to change the future use map so that our property remains conservation property. And I will tell you flatly again, we've been in clean and green for decades. We made a big commitment to the natural world a long time ago, and we're sticking by it. But this board and your zoning officers had better do nothing whatsoever to interfere with our timberland. We want to go over on there and periodically have it very carefully logged, as we have been doing since the 1950s. I had some other comments. I don't know if they're relevant at this time, but yes, If you have questions, I'll answer what I can.
Sure. I guess I want to look to our planning director. Oh, sorry. Want to look to our planning director. I was not aware that you had any concerns. This is the first that I've heard of this, so I apologize.
Don't be sorry. You did nothing
For
wrong.
that. I actually been on my computer looking up your property, trying to figure out which one might be yours. Matt, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I think I have a few. I'm not sure exactly which property is Mr. Ebert's, but I know the general area. I think the first comment is that this amendment proposes no changes to that area other than what exists in the current comprehensive plan. I do want to kind of explain a couple things or answer a couple of questions. First of all, you're correct that no environmental study was done on any of the properties in the township. We determined the future land use by looking at the current land use. We had meetings where we went property by property, all 19,000 throughout the township, and looked at them. Preservation and conservation, the main difference between the two of those, preservation includes areas that are in FEMA-designated floodplains that don't allow construction in certain portions. We felt it was important to mark those for possible future preservation to preserve those floodplains. And conservation does allow limited development. Preservation would also potentially allow development as long as those floodplains were protected. I think it is important to note that this is not a regulatory map. The zoning map is the regulatory map, which actually states what what potential uses a property has. All of that property over there right now is zoned conservation residential, whether it's marked as preservation or conservation in the future land use map. That allows pretty much everything, Mr. Ebert, you spoke about that you may want to do in the future. It does allow subdivisions of lots of 2 acres, everything that Clean and Green permits. You are correct that certain state laws supersede the township laws. One of them has to do with forestry and what they call, it's called silviculture. It is a form of agriculture, growing and harvesting trees. The municipality's planning code of the state requires us to allow that in all zoning districts, and we do. If you look at our zoning code, you'll see that under each of the zoning districts, including conservation residential, which your property is designated, forestry and silviculture is included as one of the permitted uses. So we don't hamper that in any way. Those activities can still occur. So I guess, I think I am trying to understand your concerns, but I think at the end of the day, everything that we've done kind of aligns with your wishes and desires for the property.
Does the future use map at some point become the basis for future zoning laws?
It does, and it did. That's how we came about the zoning that we have today there, which is the conservation residential. At this point, the board has just adopted a new zoning map in April of this year. I mean, it would be up to them, but I don't foresee them doing that again anytime soon. So where the future land use map would really come into play now would be any future rezoning requests if somebody requested to rezone their property.
So let me get this straight. When you decided what was going to be conservation property and what was going to be preservation property, people just looked at the map and said, we think this should be conservation, and we think this should be preservation, right? Is that how that happened? pretty much?
We analyzed each property, yes.
How did you analyze it? What are the criteria?
Like you said, I mean, you're correct that we looked at each one, we saw their current uses. Like I mentioned, one of the biggest criteria for preservation was that it had a portion of a waterway or a FEMA floodplain in it.
We do have branches of Mill Creek that run through our property,
Correct.
but that's not really a floodplain on our property. That drains, it's all Mill Creek, and it drains right into Mill Creek. Our property is above the level that would flood. And I'm very disappointed in the Conservation District. In 2008, the power line, and we own the power line, we own the gas line where it crosses our property. The utilities have an easement to build and maintain their transmission lines, and we endorse that, and I have worked with National Fuel Gas and with First Energy. But in 2008, First Energy hired a company called Penline out of Scottsdale, Pennsylvania, to mow the power line. And Penline ran their brush hogs to where the blades were actually cutting in the dirt. And they ran it right across the creek. When we have logged, we have put temporary bridges across every waterway because we don't want sedimentation or equipment going through the creek. Penline cut it right down to the dirt. That was in August of 2008. In June of 2009, there was a gully washer rainstorm in Bell Valley. And when I went back and looked at our property, I saw where logs that they had cut down on the power line right away had washed downhill by the force of the water. And that water eventually flooded Bell Valley Hose Company, and I think the damage was about $600,000. And I went to the Conservation District and I said, look, there's got to be a setback of a buffer zone on the streams. You have to have that to prevent sedimentation, and in this case, to prevent a flood. Our water, or the waterways on our property are not on a floodplain. But what needs to happen is the rules have to change so there's a buffer zone along those streams to keep that water from coming down so fast as it did. And that hasn't happened. And again, I see property that is zoned on your future, or is on your future land map use, it's designated conservation property. And I see land that is designated preservation land, and I still don't know why ours is preservation land. You say floodplain, I say I don't think so. And before you say that to me, I'm an old Bell Valley boy. I know every creek. And you know, if you're going to use that for future zoning, I will caution you, do not do anything to interfere with our private timberland property. It's going to stay in our family for generations to come. After the way the public has treated us, I will never open that to public use. The four-wheelers drive through there. They tear the hillsides up till every time there's a rainfall, the dirt winds up at the bottom of the hill. Where I would like to see the hill grown up with foliage so it didn't erode. You're a former cop, aren't you, Mr. Brock? I've almost been run over 4 times by four-wheelers on our property, and a 5th time they knocked me to the ground. So if I sound a little bit irate, I've got some reasons for it. Our property was burned in late November of 2016. 5.3 acres of our timberland was burned. I reported that to the Millquick Police. I had photographs. I showed it to the officer. I said, I'll get the photographs developed and bring them down to the township for you. I went back the next day, and another fire had been set. And I have photographs that are dated on the camera to show the area that burned on the 2nd day, not being burned on the 1st day. And I took the photographs down to the Millquick Police. And we didn't hear anything back. 10 days later, I called the Millquick Police, and they told me, we don't investigate fires. That matter's dropped. I went to Matt Exley. I went to the state forest fire marshal for our district. I happened to have met and spoken with the state fire marshal at that time about some other matters. fire was eventually evaluated, and I was told by the state forest fire marshal and by Matt Exley and by a third-party investigator that because of the passage of time from the time when the fire started till the time they looked at it, they would not be able to testify that those fires were set and that the second fire was arson, even though they agreed with me that they believed it was so. They didn't think they would prevail in their testimony. The short of it, Mr. Brock, is that no charges were ever filed. You understand? Okay. My family's roots in Bell Valley go back at least over 170 years. Great-great-great-grandfather, Stephen Rillen, chose in the 1850 census for Bell Valley. His daughter Ann married Jacob Schmuel, my great-great-grandfather, and he had a wagon building shop just down the road on Norcross from where the old Bell Valley School was. And this guy lives in Jacob's house to this day. We're good citizens in the world. We're good citizens to nature. We're environmentalists. Please leave us alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ebert. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board on the comprehensive plan? Okay, we'll close the hearing. We'll move on to Resolution 2022-R44. Mr. Shaw.
Resolution 2022-R44 is a resolution pursuant to Section 302C of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, amending the 2018 Mill Creek Township Comprehensive Plan, by which Mill Creek Township will adopt and include the Presque Isle Gateway District Plan, including all of its components, and the updated future land use map. This resolution identifies the location of where these documents are to be included within the comprehensive plan. As Mr. Waldinger indicated, all the various notices have been properly supplied. We have now conducted a public hearing, and the ordinance is ready for the vote of the supervisors.
Is it a resolution or ordinance? A resolution or ordinance? Sorry.
It's a
Oh,
resolution.
okay, sorry.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve the resolution 2022-R45.
44.
44.
Sorry, 44.
I'll second
Yeah.
44.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
This is clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a public hearing on the formation of the Mill Creek Township General Authority. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, thank you. As we open this hearing for the proposed Mill Creek Township General Authority, based on our review, we are recommending that the township form a general municipal authority to assist with the implementation of the Presque Isle Gateway District Plan. That plan approved just a few minutes ago during this meeting includes recommendations of the plan that include improving the streetscape and walkability of district corridors, developing various walking and biking trails to connect Presque Isle, and pursuing redevelopment of open and existing areas, including areas along 8th Street. Under the Municipal Authorities Act, an authority has the power to finance working capital, acquire, hold, construct, finance, improve, maintain, and operate, own, or lease projects relating to the transportation, shopping, parking spaces, and all facilities necessary or incident to parks, recreation, grounds, and facilities, and development and administration of business improvements and administrative services relating thereto. Business improvements include, but are not limited to, things such as sidewalks, street paving and lighting, parking lots and parking garages, and the acquisition and demolition of blighted buildings or structures. All of these purposes would serve to assist in the execution of the Presque Isle Gateway District Plan. Key consideration for recommending a general municipal authority is that an authority under the Pennsylvania Municipalities Authorities Act has the power to condemn, and it is broader than the power to condemn held by the township. The municipal authority being recommended shall have the full authorities permitted under the Municipalities Authorities Act, meaning that it can, that not only can it be used for assisting in the implementation of the Gateway District Plan, but also can be a tool used for redeveloping other portions of the township. Much of Mill Creek has been built out over the last 30 years, and Mill Creek is now entering the next phase of its existence, where it will be important for the township to ensure that areas within the township continue to thrive and be vibrant, and that blighted properties and areas be dealt with in a timely manner to prevent its spread. The general authority being authorized today would be just another tool in the township's arsenal to ensure that redevelopment rather than blight occurs. The general authority can also assist with the management and funding of the township's stormwater system, which is an important piece of the infrastructure of Mill Creek Township. The Board of Directors of this new authority is recommended to consist of 5 members, which will be the 3 current supervisors appointed to the board, along with 2 other Mill Creek citizens. These 2 citizens shall be David Zimmer, who is president of Erie Bank, and Robin Waldinger, who is the CFO of the Erie Western Pennsylvania Port Authority. Both have significant experience with the kinds of actions that may be needed to implement the Gateway District Plan using an authority. If our recommendation is followed and the board approves the formation of the municipal authority, and after publication of the notice of the intent to form the authority, we shall proceed to file the necessary paperwork with the state on October 18th of 2022, which will officially form the authority. We would then schedule a public meeting of the authority to conduct the business necessary to begin the operations of the authority and any other business before the authority at that time. Based on our review, we would recommend that the Board of Supervisors vote to authorize the formation of this general municipal authority pursuant to Resolution 2022 R45.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the hearing for the formation of the Mill Creek Township General Authority. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on that topic? Okay, we'll close the hearing and move on to Resolution 2022 R45.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution 2022 R45.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Block, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is ordinance 2022-8, an ordinance of the Township of Mill Creek to amend ordinance 2010-10 regarding sidewalks. Attorney Shaw?
Yes, as we've stated in prior meetings, the township is currently looking at amending its sidewalk ordinance. We've gone through and made various changes to provisions to update it and make it consistent with the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and other applicable state and federal laws. We are currently looking at some additional provisions that would specifically address snow removal, and we hope to have this ordinance ready to place before the supervisors for the next meeting, which would be on October 25th of 2022.
Okay, thank you. Next item is Resolution 2022 R46, a resolution of the Township of Mill Creek to implement Act 57 of 2022 property tax penalty waiver provisions. Mr. Zakrzewski?
Yes, the legislature passed Act 57 in the 2022 session of the legislature. It allows the tax collector to waive the penalties if notice has not been received, if the notice is filed within a specific time period. This resolution allows or authorizes the tax collector to waive penalties for late payment of those property taxes. And it's my recommendation that we go ahead and approve the resolution and authorize the tax collector to waive penalties for late payment of property taxes within the time period specified by Act 57.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Mark, what is the financial impact of that? Any idea?
I have no idea. I don't think
Okay.
that happens that often here,
Okay.
but it would involve the 10% penalty that would normally apply to taxes paid after June 30th.
Okay.
We don't have that many people that pay late to begin with, so I'm not quite sure what the actual impact would be.
Okay. Thank you to our financially responsible citizens. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2022 R46. Sorry, 2022 R46.
I'll second that.
Mr. Block, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
This is clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a notification of exclusion from land development for Waldemere Park. Mr. Waldinger?
Yes, thank you. Waldemere Park has received approval for the construction of a 525 square foot pump house and the construction of a water slide ride within the confines of the existing portion of the park. Per section 125-47A3 of the subdivision and land development ordinance, which also matches the requirements of the municipality's planning code, the addition of buildings or rides within the confines of an enterprise, which would be considered an amusement park, are exempt from land development. So this is just notification to the board that that permit was approved by the Township Planning and Development Department based on this exclusion.
Does that require any action from us?
It does not.
Great, okay. Next item is the Indigo Run Snow Maintenance Agreement. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Indigo Run is a small private road located within the Whispering Woods subdivision that serves 4 residences. Historically, the township has provided snow removal service on that road under an agreement with the property owners. The township charged a fee to these property owners for the snow removal, but it's a very small fee of a couple $100 due to the short length of the road. Supervisors have determined that the small fee that is received is not worth the cost and inefficiency of calculating that number each year and doing an agreement on a yearly basis as a result. Supervisors proposed to the property owners to enter into an agreement under which the township would agree to remove snow removal at no additional cost. That agreement would then be recorded so that there would not be any future need for any further snow removal for those properties. It also, under the agreement, the property owners agree to hold the township harmless for any damage that may be done as a result of the snow plowing, as well as agreeing that they are responsible to maintain the road in a condition that would enable the snow plowing to continue. It's also my understanding that this little area is also typically used by the township snow plows to turn around and so forth, so it made sense to proceed and suggest this agreement. The property owners have agreed and have executed this document, so it's now before the Board of Supervisors for their approval.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board on this agreement? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Block, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
This is clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a memorandum of understanding with the Erie Catholic School System. Attorney Shaw?
Yes, this is an agreement between the Mill Creek Police and the Erie Diocese Catholic Schools under the Safe Schools Act, outlining the investigative processes to be followed by both entities at schools and events that occur within Mill Creek Township. The township has entered into similar agreements with other public and private schools with facilities and events in Mill Creek. We have reviewed and the recommendation is to approve the agreement and authorize the Chief of Police to execute it.
Okay, any comments or questions on this item?
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Block, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the Stormwater Maintenance Agreement, Maintenance Plan for Mill Creek Community Hospital. Mr. Waldinger?
Thank you. Mill Creek Community Hospital has provided the executed stormwater management maintenance agreement for their emergency department and ICU addition land development plan. It has been reviewed by Greenman Peterson Incorporated, the township's contracted third-party engineering firm, for consistency with the township's stormwater management ordinance. It does, Greenman Peterson has indicated that it does comply with the substantive requirements of the ordinance. So it is our recommendation that the board approve the stormwater maintenance plan as submitted and approve and sign the stormwater maintenance agreement as signed by Mill Creek Community Hospital.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board?
Motion to approve the stormwater maintenance plan?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the BIU contract. Attorney Shaw?
Yes, the township uses BIU on occasion to assist it with inspections under the property maintenance code and the fire code. Before you is the agreement with BIU that would extend to December 31 of 2023. For the most part, it is identical to prior agreements that we've entered into with BIU for these services. The fees contained in the agreement have not changed since the last agreement. The inspection costs range from $45 to $70 depending on the nature of the inspection, and participation in hearings is $60 for the first hour, $25 per half hour afterwards. Commercial fire code inspections range from $45 to $115 depending upon the type and size of facility. And lastly, we have incorporated inspections required under the limited lodging ordinance into this agreement, and they will be treated as property maintenance inspections are. So we would recommend approving this agreement.
Okay, any comments or questions about the BIU contract? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to communications, treasurer communications, Mark?
Nothing further at this time.
Okay, training and travel request from the police department. We have two. Mrs. Clear?
Yes, thank you very much. The first is from the police department for the approval of the Westridge Fire Department to conduct traffic control at Brown's Farm on Saturday between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock. The MYAA is hosting a cross-country meet for kids between kindergarten through 6th grade. And, sorry, the exact date is not in here. I believe it's this Saturday. So I'll make a motion to approve the Westridge Fire Department to conduct traffic control at Brown's Farm.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And next up, we have travel requests. Sorry. And this is for from the police department, from Chief Height. And the recommendation is for the approval of Captain Kaczynski to attend the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Seminar in Wexford, PA, from November 14th through November 18th. The total cost for the training is $1,738. So I will make a motion to approve that request.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Is there another one?
Yeah, there's one more.
I don't know why mine are in out of order here. I apologize. One more request is for the approval of an officer to attend the PA Crash Accident Reconstruction Seminar, October 24th through October 26th at the Bayfront Convention Center. The registration cost for the seminar is $99. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is Operation Greenlight. It's taking place November 7th through the 13th. I don't have my computer up. Does somebody have that handy?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Throughout the country, this coming Veterans Day, they invite us to join them in honoring Erie County's former service members by participating in Operation Greenlight for veterans. Operation Greenlight is an opportunity to spread awareness for the resources that are available to veterans and their families. And we have approximately 18,000 veterans within Erie County. So we'll be joining other municipalities in honoring them on Veterans Day.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. Do I need a is that?
I think it's essentially an announcement. And
Okay.
if I could just add that the concept of Operation Greenlight is for municipalities as well as residents and businesses to use a green light bulb to either light up their facility or at their homes to show their support for the servicemen.
Okay, thank you. Executive sessions were held on September 29th and October 6th to discuss various issues. Solicitor communications, Attorney Shaw.
None on my end.
Okay, moving on to citizens to be heard. Anyone wishing to address the board?
Oh. Careful.
My name is Dennis McAndrew, 1547 High Street. I attend a lot of these meetings, and I wanted to, probably not newsworthy, but noteworthy for Mark and all of you. I think it's good that working in tandem that you've not abused the American Rescue Funds, but properly used them, unlike Greenfield Township, which gave themselves a raise, or the attempt by Erie County executive to give $5 million away. I just wanted it noted that I think it's been, you've done the right thing, which unfortunately doesn't make the news. And I find a lot of people find the numbers boring. I find it interesting, and I think it's good that we've properly used it for the benefit of the citizens of Melker Township. And just wanted to acknowledge that to all of you and make it a public record.
Thank you, Dennis. Anyone else wishing to address the board under public comment? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Let's adjourn.
Okay, meeting's adjourned at 10:30.